Welcome back to the BMW M235i radiator repair series. Before we get started, I just wanted to say a massive thank you to everyone who's watched, liked and subscribed so far. The support has genuinely been appreciated. One thing I have learnt from this project is to always film in landscape. At the time I was more focused on fixing the car than the filming format itself, and it wasn't until I started editing everything together that I realised how much easier to the eye it would have been if I had filmed it differently. But it's all part of the learning process, I guess, and going forward future projects will be filmed in landscape as the channel continues to grow and improve. So for a quick recap, in the last episodes we replaced the radiator, replaced and registered the battery, vacuum filled the cooling system and got the BMW one step closer to running again. Now it's finally time to start putting everything back together and see if all the hard work over the last few episodes is going to pay off. Let's get stuck in. Now with the radiator back in place, it was time to refit the air conditioning condenser. Before reconnecting the pipework, I made sure to replace the O-rings with new ones. Now when reconnecting the air conditioning pipes, it's important to make sure everything lines up properly and goes together smoothly. The aluminium fittings can be damaged quite easily, and that's a mistake that's best avoided. Thankfully everything lined up as it should, and with the new O-rings fitted, the condenser was ready for the system to be regassed later on. Now with the condenser back in place, it was time to refit the brake cooling ducts. These are one of those components that are easy to overlook. Their job is to help direct airflow towards the brakes, helping keep temperatures under control when the car is being driven hard. Compared to some of the jobs on this project, fitting them back in was a fairly straightforward job. Now with one side completed, it was time to refit the wheel and move over to the other side to repeat the process. There's not much point showing every single bolt twice, but the same steps applied on both sides. Sometimes that's just how these jobs go. Once you've worked out the best way of doing one side, you can usually get the other side done a lot quicker. It's hot out here. I know I've said that a million times. But I've got to get this car back on the road. It's bright, it's coming from the back. I need the ratchet and the compact drill. Okay, where did I put the screw? I always do this. There we go. Got the screw. I normally got a lot more patience, but when you're cooking, hungry, thirsty, I don't even know how many drinks I've had today. You just start forgetting. Alright, that's in. At this stage, it was more about taking my time, making sure everything was fitted correctly and slowly working my way through the rebuild one component at a time. Okay, one in, next one, next one, next one. Oh, my back. I need one of them seats, you know, them like them mechanic stools. Ugh. All in good time, I guess. Where we at? Where you at? Oh. There you are. There you are. You're hiding from me. I think that's right. Next up was reconnecting the wire for the air flap control system. It's a small job but an important one, and with everything plugged back in correctly, it was time to move on to the next stage of the rebuild. Looking good. We are good. I am right. thought there might be something else that connects to it. Right, it's all good. Right, so the reason it didn't come out, that rusty screw on the support, is because the back of it is just spinning. So I'm gonna see if I can tighten it up. I haven't got another screw. It's weekend, bank holiday, and BMW ain't open. So I'm gonna have to just get put back together. Try to fix it at the same time. Not doing nothing. It's just spinning. Spin, spin, spin. Try heat it up. Okay. So that worked. It is nice and tight again. And next up was the bonnet catch support above the radiator, followed by the bracing strut. Not the most exciting part of the job, but every bolt going back in meant I was one step closer to having the front end fully rebuilt and the BMW looking like a car again. Why like two different size bolts on one thing? Why can't they just make it the same bolts? Do you know what I mean? Now as you can see, this is where the frustration started to creep in. For some reason BMW decided to use two different size bolts on the same component. It's not the end of the world, but when you're working in the heat for days and you're constantly reaching for tools, little things like that can test your patience. Still, after a bit of muttering to myself and a few tool changes, everything went back together as it should, and it was time to move on. At this point, everything was starting to go back together nicely, and for the first time in days, it felt like I was making real progress. While I was here, I decided to replace the air filter. It's a simple job and made sense to do it now while everything was easily accessible. The old filter had done its job, so fitting a fresh one was just another small step towards getting the BMW back to its best. I'm surprised I've even got all this back together. We're getting there. We are absolutely getting there, people. So far we have completed the radiator, ran it up to temperature, saw the fan kick in, that's all good. Put a new battery. We have now put together the front end. It's about to have the bumper refitted. So getting these bolts in now. I ain't gonna go too mad with tightening, because when I saw the mechanics before put this back together, when they bodged that front pipe, I noticed that it wasn't straight with the bonnet. So as you can see, big gap here, and that's really how it should be. So I've got to readjust and push this side back in more. So yeah, alright, so I've just got to tie all the bolts underneath. I've got to tie the two wing or bender
fender to bumper screws.
With everything underneath finally back in place, it was time for one of the most satisfying parts of the whole job, refitting the front bumper. After spending days stripping the front end apart, replacing the radiator and working through all the little jobs along the way, seeing the bumper go back on was a real milestone. As always, I took my time lining everything up properly and making sure all the clips, fixings and connections were where they were meant to be.
As I said at the beginning of this journey, this side had 2 bolts in, 2 screws, and the other side had 1. I've no idea why. That's what it was.
And actually, after thinking about it, I remembered the mechanic who took the bumper off before obviously didn't put the bolts back on properly.
It's good. Looks good. Let's put some of these bolts back in. Other than my brake pads, this side's good. That side's left the chat. Same on the other side, so I will definitely get that done. Let's get this wheel back on, and then to the other side. Well, got to say something. The old man's still got it, you know what I mean? Huh? You like that bit of cockney? What, M is embarrassing? Okay, that's gone back together nicely.
I'm sorry, Callum can pay back his own stuff. Well, he went out today and bought loads of rug bolts and that.
Alright, well look, I really appreciate it. If you want,
I will
give you
£30 today.
I will give you the extra 25 pence. If that's what you want.
No, you can pay your Red Bull.
Alright, fine.
What about the one earlier? No, you're not giving me money with them dirty hands. Damn it.
Just give me my Red Bull, please. Alright? I've got content to make. Alright? Thank you, darling.
£1.75. What's this? Sorry? £1.35.
Red Bull's getting free advertisement.
So after another day working in the heat and slowly rebuilding this car piece by piece, we were finally there. What started as a simple coolant leak had turned into days of dismantling, diagnosing, replacing parts and putting everything back together again. Now it was the moment of truth.
And this was meant to be Bosch. They're giving me Drive Tech. Never heard of them, but then I'm not a mechanic. So if I hear in the comments that this is rubbish, then I'll have to do it all again.
I don't really mind. Yeah, no shortcuts, no fake hype, just real projects and late nights. If it breaks, we'll tear it down. Find a fault and turn it round. Workshop life. Workshop life.